What if I told you that a small, leafy vegetable, the kind you'd eat fresh with some spicy Thai food, is the exact same plant you'll find sitting inside incredibly expensive, luxury skincare products across Europe and America? Sounds crazy, right? Well, welcome to The Explainer. I'm your host, and today we're tracing the absolutely fascinating journey of this tiny, creeping leaf. It's a plant that literally connects everyday Asian food culture straight to high-end Western dermatology.
So, what is it? A leafy side dish or a luxury skincare secret? The answer is, it's surprisingly both. For centuries, this unassuming little green plant has just been a staple in tropical climates. But recently, it's completely exploded onto the global stage. It's kind of amazing how it bridges the gap between ancient traditions and modern clinical science.
Section 1. An ancient Asian leaf. Origins and culinary roots.
Okay, let's dive into this, because depending on where you are in the world, this plant goes by a lot of different names. Its official scientific name is Centella asiatica. In Thailand, they call it buabok. In English, you probably know it as Gotu Kola, Asian pennywort, or tiger grass, which, by the way, comes from this old legend that injured tigers in India would actually roll around in this grass to heal their wounds. Pretty cool, right? In India and Bangladesh, it's known as Thankuni-pata, and over in Malaysia, it's begaga. Basically, it's a small creeping plant that just absolutely loves moist soil, warm weather, and a bit of shade.
And this plant is deeply woven into daily life. In Thailand and across much of Asia, people have literally been eating it for generations. You'll find it eaten totally fresh alongside some chili paste or just served with local dishes. In Sri Lanka, they blend it up with coconut milk and rice to make this really energizing green herbal porridge called kolakanda. In Malaysia, they toss it right into traditional ulam salads. So for a very long time, this moisture-loving plant has just been a simple, fresh, everyday vegetable.
So if it's just an everyday vegetable over in Asia, why is the Western world suddenly obsessing over it right now? Section 2. The global skincare boom. The rise of Cica.
$1.8 billion. Let that number sink in for a second. That is the projected global market value for Centella asiatica extract by the year 2025. This isn't just some passing wellness fad. It's a massive, incredibly lucrative global trend that's just going to keep growing exponentially.
And when you break that market down, over half of that multi-billion-dollar pie, 52.7% to be exact, is driven purely by the cosmetics industry. Pharmaceuticals, which use it for things like chronic wound care, make up about 23.8%, and nutraceuticals, like your dietary supplements, make up the rest. The beauty industry has literally taken this humble little leaf and turned it into an absolute economic powerhouse.
If you've walked down a skincare aisle recently, you've almost certainly seen this word, Cica. It's a hugely popular marketing term right now, especially in K-beauty products that target sensitive skin. But here's the secret. Cica is actually just shorthand. It's derived directly from the plant's botanical name, Centella asiatica. So those expensive premium Cica creams, they are powered by extracts from the exact same Asian leaf we've been talking about this whole time.
But what is it about this specific plant that actually makes it work so well? Section 3. The science of Cica. What makes it work?
Now, what's really interesting here is the chemistry. It's like a botanical puzzle. The plant contains a powerhouse complex of 4 specific pentacyclic triterpenoid compounds. Don't worry about the big words, but they are asiaticoside, madecassoside, asiatic acid, and madecassic acid. Scientists are incredibly interested in these isolated compounds for their potential to help with skin repair, collagen support, wound healing, and reducing inflammation.
Let's break down how that chemistry actually repairs your skin. When you apply these active compounds, they act as biological tissue regulators. First off, they stimulate collagen synthesis, specifically type 1 collagen, which is basically the scaffolding that gives your skin its strength. Second, they modulate inflammation, which helps soothe any redness. And third, clinical studies have shown they can actually reduce transepidermal water loss by up to 28%. That means they actively lock moisture into your skin barrier. It's a highly functional tool for your skin's architecture.
So, with global demand absolutely soaring, how do we get this plant from a swampy wetland into a tiny, refined bottle of serum? Section 4. From farm to extract, cultivation and sourcing.
From a farming perspective, Centella asiatica thrives in tropical climates. It likes moist, frankly almost waterlogged soil, soft sunlight, and it spreads super easily through horizontal runners. But here's the catch. Because it grows in that wet dirt, and because people eat it fresh, having clean water, clean soil, and safe handling is absolutely crucial. The plant acts kind of like a sponge for whatever environment it's in, so farmers have to use strict agricultural controls to make sure the final extract is high quality and safe.
Which brings us to a really important reality check for today's explainer. Section 5. Facts, not magic. Food versus pharmaceutical. So the crucial point is understanding the big difference between the food and the pharmaceutical extract. Eating the fresh leaves, that gives you great dietary fiber, vitamins, minerals, and natural plant compounds like flavonoids and polyphenols. It's a simple, refreshing, healthy green vegetable. But using a concentrated extract, that delivers highly targeted bioactives at specific doses meant for clinical skin repair and wound healing. Basically, eating a fresh salad is not the same thing as applying a concentrated chemical extract in a lab setting.
We need to be super clear here. Gotu Kola is not a magic cure. Is the science fascinating? Absolutely. Does it have measurable biological effects? For sure. But it is a functional botanical, not some miraculous cure-all for every disease out there. We always have to approach these things with a grounded understanding of what the clinical data actually proves.
And hey, because it is pharmacologically active, there are real safety cautions we have to talk about. As a food, those raw leaves have to be washed thoroughly to avoid any waterborne pathogens from the swamps they grow in. Also, there have been rare, but documented, cases of acute liver toxicity linked to people taking high-dose oral supplements for long periods. So if you have liver problems, if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, or taking a lot of medications, you definitely need to be careful with concentrated supplements and talk to a doctor first.
In my opinion, Gotu Kola is just a tiny plant with a massive story. It brilliantly connects everyday food, deep-rooted culture, agricultural farming, and cutting-edge clinical science all in one little leaf. Asia has known about and valued this plant for centuries, and now the West is finally catching on. Not because it's magic, but because modern science is finally backing up what tradition has known all along.
Which brings us to our final thought for today. What about where you live? Do you have a local plant or remedy that your culture has used for generations, but the rest of the world is only just starting to notice? I'd really love to hear about it. Drop a comment below and share your own cultural discoveries with us. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.